All right, let's dive in. We're going deep on ancient mysteries and alien encounters today.
Oh, yeah.
And wow, you really dug up some fascinating YouTube videos for us to work with.
Yeah,
We've got documentaries,
right.
news clips, expert discussions, the whole 9 yards. We're talking accounts from ancient texts like the Book of Enoch, the Jataka Tales, and then we've got modern stuff too, the Roswell incident,
Of course.
Pentagon UFO investigation.
Right, right.
And we're going to be looking at places like the Nasca Lines
Yes.
and even Area 51. So buckle up.
It's a wild mix. And it's not just, like fringe theories here. We're talking archaeology, official reports, even religious texts, all sort of hinting at the possibility of alien life
Right.
and how it might have shaped us.
Shaped us, yeah. Okay, let's start with those ancient astronaut theories. That,
Okay.
maybe those stories about gods and angels visiting Earth
Uh-huh.
were actually extraterrestrials. What do you think about that?
Well, it's a fascinating idea, and the videos do offer some really interesting possibilities, like take the boat-shaped coffins
Okay.
they found in ancient Egypt and Japan.
Boat-shaped coffins, yeah.
Some researchers believe those were inspired by actual spacecraft.
What, so instead of a regular coffin, they were like, hey, let's put them in a spaceship?
Yeah, like ensuring a smooth ride to the afternoon.
That's wild.
And then in Ireland, there's this place, the Newgrange Passage Tomb.
Newgrange Passage too.
It has carvings inside.
Okay.
And some believe they're actually like star maps.
Star maps, hold on. So not only spaceships, but directions too. That's some seriously advanced stuff for, ancient civilization.
Well, that's where the interpretation gets a bit tricky. We have to be careful not to project our modern ideas onto the past.
Yeah.
But the idea that ancient cultures might have been more advanced than we give them credit for, that's definitely food for thought.
It is. Okay, so spaceships, star maps, what other hints are hidden in these ancient astronaut theories?
Well, we've got the ancient texts. The Book of Enoch, for example,
Uh-huh.
describes the prophet Enoch's encounters with guardians of the sky.
Oh, right, the Guardians of the Sky.
They come down from the heavens, these beings with knowledge and abilities far beyond anything human at the time.
Yeah, that sounds kind of familiar. It's like the Jataka Tales,
Right.
right, with Buddha and the Divas.
The divas, yeah.
These super advanced beings.
Yeah, with advanced technology.
It's like all these ancient cultures were trying to describe something they'd never seen before.
Exactly.
And have no words for.
Right.
So do you think they maybe misinterpreted these extraterrestrial encounters
It's
into
possible.
like gods and angels?
Yeah, because they just didn't have the framework to understand advanced tech.
Right, right,
I mean, imagine trying to explain a smartphone to someone who's never even seen a light bulb.
right. They probably think it was magic.
Exactly, and that's why these accounts are often part of religious narratives and mythology.
That makes sense. But what about those even more out there accounts, like in the Bible,
Oh.
Elijah ascending to heaven in a whirlwind?
Mm-hmm.
Could you spin that into like an alien abduction story?
Well, it's an interesting interpretation.
All right.
And then there's Joseph Smith Jr., the founder of Mormonism,
Okay.
claimed he got the Book of Mormon from an angel named Moroni.
And Moroni's supposed to be like an extraterrestrial from the Pleiades, right?
That's what some believe.
So even some religions might have their origins in these encounters.
That's right.
It really makes you wonder, like, how much of history do we need to re-examine?
It's a challenge to traditional interpretations, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But that's what makes these ancient astronaut theories so fascinating.
Yeah.
They force us to question what we think we know
Yeah.
and consider other possibilities.
All right, well, enough of the ancient stuff. Let's fast forward to 1947
Okay.
and the most famous alleged UFO crash ever.
Yeah.
The Roswell incident.
Well,
What really happened in the New Mexico desert?
honestly, the videos paint a pretty confusing picture. You've got the initial report of a flying disc.
Right.
Then the military says, nope, just kidding. And years later, eyewitnesses come forward with stories about alien bodies.
It's a mess. Like someone took a jigsaw puzzle, scattered the pieces, and then threw in extra pieces from a totally different puzzle.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Right.
But one piece that seems to fit is Major Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer.
Yeah,
One of the first at the crash site.
right. And his family tells some wild stories
Oh, yeah.
about like debris from the crash that he brought home.
Right.
And he was convinced it wasn't from Earth.
Yeah, and they say the government made him lie about it.
Wow.
Made him part of a cover-up.
Can you imagine being told to keep quiet about something that big? Like, what were they so afraid of?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trying to stop a panic or hiding something even bigger.
Right, right. Well, let's move on to something a little more tangible.
Okay.
The skip site,
The skip site, yes.
where geologist Frank Kimbler found those weird metal fragments
Right.
that no one can explain.
They're just cursed.
They're tiny,
Uh-huh.
perfectly preserved,
Yeah.
and they have this layered structure
Yes.
that Kimbler, who's a seasoned geologist, had never seen before.
Right.
It's like they were made with technology that's, way beyond us.
And then you've got Linda Moulton Howe,
Oh,
a
right.
journalist.
Yeah.
She claims she got similar metal fragments in the mail.
In the mail. What, is this some kind of, elaborate prank?
It was from an anonymous source.
Really?
And the analysis showed they were made of bismuth, magnesium, zinc, and silicon.
Huh. What a weird combo.
Right.
It's like the Roswell mystery just keeps getting deeper.
It does, and the videos add even more to it, like the declassified FBI files that mention UFO crashes, and then all those witnesses coming forward despite the risk.
I mean, it seems like there's more to this than just a weather balloon.
It does seem that way.
Okay, well, let's talk about something a little more recent then. UFO sightings, or UAPs as they call them now.
Right, UAPs.
They seem to be on the rise. Even military pilots are reporting them.
Yeah, and we're not talking about fuzzy lights anymore.
Right.
These are objects with abilities that just don't seem possible.
Like what former Navy pilot Ryan Graves described as dark cubes inside clear spheres.
Yeah, those are some strange descriptions.
It's not something you see every day.
No, not at all.
And then you've got all these reports of objects moving super fast, making impossible turns, even disappearing into the ocean.
Right, it's not your typical aircraft behavior.
Makes those ancient astronaut theories sound a little less crazy now, doesn't it?
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay, fair enough. So we've got these mystery objects in the sky. What's the government doing about it? Are they finally taking UAP seriously?
Well, it seems so. They even had this whole program dedicated to investigating them, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or ATIP.
ATIP, right.
And the guy who ran it, Luis Elizondo, he's been pretty vocal about what they found.
Okay, spill the beans. What did ATIP uncover?
Elizondo talks about these 5 observables.
5 observables?
That set UAPs apart from regular aircraft.
Okay.
Things like instantaneous acceleration.
Hold on, instantaneous acceleration?
Yeah, like thousands of G-forces, hypersonic velocity, but no sonic booms.
No sonic booms, okay.
Low observability, meaning they're hard to see on radar.
So they're stealthy.
Transmedium travel, so they can operate in air, water, maybe even space.
Whoa, hold on, let me catch my breath. Those observables are insane. We're talking tech way ahead of anything we have.
Right.
And the Pentagon's admitting to this.
Yeah, in that 2021 UFO report you gave me.
Oh, right.
They acknowledged that UAPs are real.
So the government's finally saying they don't have all the answers.
It seems that way.
That's a huge step.
Yeah, but they still couldn't say what these UAPs are or where they come from.
So we're still in the dark about who or what's behind these things.
Pretty much.
But at least they're admitting something weird is going on.
That's true.
Okay, let's talk about some ancient mysteries that might be connected to all this. What about those Nasca Lines in Peru? They've always been a bit of a head-scratcher.
Oh, they're amazing.
Right.
These huge geoglyphs, animals, plants, geometric shapes, all carved into the desert.
And you can only really see them from the air.
That's right.
It's like they were made for an audience in the sky. But who or what was that audience?
That's the big question. Lots of theories, of course.
Like what?
Ancient calendars, religious rituals.
Yeah.
Then there's the idea they were landing strips for aliens.
Landing strips. I mean, why else make designs you can only see from above?
That's a good point.
Right? It's like they wanted to be noticed, up there.
And then you've got the Inca god Viracocha.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
Who's said to have created the lines.
So a connection between the Nazca Lines and a sky god? Starting to see a pattern here. Boat-shaped coffins, star maps, ancient texts about sky gods, and now massive drawings that can only be seen from above.
It is a pattern.
Like someone's trying to leave us a message.
An interesting thought.
But, maybe the Nazca people were just way more advanced than we think.
It's possible.
Maybe they had ways of getting an aerial view that we haven't figured out yet.
Maybe.
But what about those elongated skulls they found in the Nazca region? Some of them have 25% larger cranial capacity than normal human skulls.
That's another piece of the puzzle.
Right.
Some people say it's just head binding, a cultural practice.
Right.
But the videos point out there's no evidence of head binding in Nazca.
So if it's not head binding, what is it? Could these be human-alien hybrids? Connecting the Nazca Lines to extraterrestrials?
It's a mind-boggling idea.
Spherically mind-boggling. And that leads us to another interesting topic, disappearances. Throughout history, people have just vanished. The Anasazi people of the American Southwest, the Bermuda Triangle, all that.
Yeah.
Could some of these be mass alien abductions? I know it sounds crazy, but given all the other weird stuff we've been talking about, it's hard to rule it out completely.
It's definitely a possibility.
Right.
And the videos mention some locations that are especially intriguing.
Oh, like that cave in Oman.
The Marlialjan Cave. Yeah.
The meeting place of the jinn.
Right.
And then all those stories about psychic abductions, people being taken to other dimensions.
It suggests there might be something more to it, something beyond what we can see and understand.
Okay, now we're getting into some serious mind-bending territory. Interdimensional beings, alien abductions. ancient astronauts, it's like we're peeling back layers of reality and finding something way stranger than we ever imagined.
It's a wild ride, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Full of wonder, intrigue, and endless possibilities.
right. And the more we dig into these topics, the more we realize that the truth might be even more complex and nuanced than we ever thought. Well, that's all the time we have for this part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We've barely scratched the surface of these incredible topics, so be sure to join us for part 2, where we'll delve even deeper into the mysteries of alien encounters and ancient mysteries.
I'll be here.
Great. Until then, keep those minds open and those tinfoil hats handy.
Always. And when you start thinking about interdimensional travel, the line between science fiction and reality gets really blurry.
Yeah, for sure. But for now, let's stick with Roswell. That whole government response has always felt kind of fishy, don't you think?
You mean how the Army first said they found a flying disc, then backtracked and said, oops, just a weather balloon?
Exactly. And the local paper, the Roswell Daily Record, they were basically forced to retract their story.
It does seem a bit convenient.
Right, like a little too convenient.
The official story changed a bunch.
Yeah.
First, it was a weather balloon, then it was a high-altitude balloon from Project Mogul, that top-secret program to keep tabs on Soviet newts.
But the witnesses who came forward later, they weren't buying it.
No.
They swore they saw something extraordinary.
Right.
Something way more than just a balloon.
And their stories, they were really specific.
Yeah.
Descriptions of a big disc-shaped object crashed in the desert.
Right.
Debris that looked like nothing they'd ever seen.
There were even stories about metal fragments that wouldn't tear or break.
Uh-huh.
Some even seemed to, defy gravity.
That does sound pretty sci-fi.
Right. It's like something straight out of a movie. Which is why so many people believe the weather balloon thing was just a cover story.
Makes sense.
To hide the truth about Roswell and keep everyone from freaking out.
A classic conspiracy.
Right. And the government being all secretive about Area 51 doesn't help.
No, not at all.
All those rumors about alien tech and reverse engineering.
And the government, they admit Area 51 exists.
Right.
But they won't say what goes on there.
It's like they want us to come up with even crazier theories. Okay, speaking of crazy, let's talk about alien abductions. The videos you gave me are full of people claiming they were taken aboard spaceships.
It's amazing, the range of stories.
Right.
Some are about being taken onto spaceships, others are about medical procedures.
Medical procedures, wow.
And then there's missing time, where people just have no memory of what happened.
Like someone wiped their minds.
Yeah, it's pretty unsettling stuff.
I bet. Imagine waking up one morning and having zero recollection of the night before.
Yeah.
That would be terrifying.
Yeah, the psychological impact can be really intense.
I can imagine.
Trauma, confusion, fear.
To have something happen to you that you just can't explain.
Right.
Challenges everything you thought you knew about reality.
And some researchers even think these abductions could be like interdimensional contact.
Okay, wait. Interdimensional contact?
Yeah, beings from other realms interacting with us in ways we don't understand.
So instead of flying across space, they're just popping in and out of our dimension.
It's a wild thought.
Seriously wild. Even weirder than spaceships.
Yeah, it really stretches the imagination.
So are these abductions random, or is there something more deliberate happening?
Are they part of a bigger plan?
Right, like are they studying us? But then why wouldn't a civilization that advanced leave some kind of, proof?
That's a good point.
Right, it's like one of the big arguments against the ancient astronaut theory, too. Like, maybe their observation methods are so subtle,
Right.
so far beyond what we understand.
That we just don't recognize the signs?
That's a humbling thought.
It is.
Okay, but what about the abductions that are said to be, psychic in nature?
Ah, yes. That gets into the realm of parapsychology.
Right, parapsychology.
Some think our consciousness isn't limited to our physical bodies.
So we can travel to other realms with our minds.
Maybe through altered states of awareness.
So maybe some abductions aren't physical at all.
It's possible.
Just experiences happening in people's minds.
It adds another layer of complexity.
For sure. Okay, so we've got physical abductions, psychic abductions, ancient astronaut theories, government cover-ups, weird metal fragments, and military pilots seeing UFOs. Where do we even go from here?
It is a lot to take in.
Right, it's like we've opened this Pandora's box of weirdness.
But one thing that stands out from the videos is that the UFO encounters, they're not always hostile.
So no alien invasion, no conquering Earth.
Not necessarily.
'Cause that's usually how it goes in the movies.
Right, but some researchers think they might be more interested in, watching us.
Watching us.
Studying us. Maybe even guiding us in some way.
Like cosmic babysitters, making sure we don't screw things up too badly.
It's a comforting thought compared to the alternative.
It is. But there are also claims that aliens are messing with our nuclear weapons.
That's true.
Doesn't sound very friendly.
There are reports of UFOs near nuclear sites, and some even say they've interfered with the weapons.
Like they're trying to send a message like, hey, be careful with that stuff.
It's possible they see us as a danger.
Right, to ourselves, or maybe even the rest of the universe.
And a chilling thought.
So are they trying to steer us towards, a more peaceful future?
Maybe they're just trying to stop us from blowing ourselves up and taking everyone else with us.
Yeah, that's a sobering thought. But what about the people who claim to actually talk to these beings? What do they say?
Well, a common thread is that they're highly intelligent,
Okay,
telepathic, deep understanding of Earth and its history.
like they've been watching us for a long, long time.
It seems that way.
So they're not just passively observing, they're engaging with us.
Right.
Maybe even trying to teach us something.
It's an intriguing idea.
It is. So the relationship between humans and aliens might be even more complicated than we think.
It's definitely not as simple as we see in the movies.
No, definitely not. Okay, well, what about SETI? The search for extraterrestrial intelligence. What are scientists doing to try to find aliens?
They're using lots of different methods.
Like what?
Well, one is scanning the sky for radio waves that might be artificial.
So they're listening for alien radio broadcasts.
Basically, yeah.
It's like trying to find a cosmic radio station.
They're looking for patterns in the signals that suggest intelligent design.
Right.
Not just natural stuff.
Okay.
They also look for laser pulses or other light signals like beacons.
So they're looking for cosmic lighthouses.
Exactly. Any sign that we're not alone.
That's amazing. But if there are all these advanced civilizations out there, why haven't they contacted us already? If they're so technologically advanced, wouldn't they be able to travel across the galaxy and say hello?
That's the Fermi
The
paradox.
Fermi paradox, right?
There are a bunch of possible explanations.
Okay, like what?
Well, maybe they're hiding from us.
Hiding?
Or maybe they just don't want to talk.
Why not?
Maybe they want to protect us from their influence.
So like the prime directive from Star Trek, don't interfere with less developed civilizations.
Exactly.
Interesting. Or maybe they're just so advanced that we can't even comprehend them.
Like ants trying to understand human civilization.
Right, right. That's both fascinating and a little scary.
It is.
To think we might be missing something huge just because we don't have the brains to understand it.
It's a humbling thought for sure.
It is. So the search for extraterrestrial life continues.
It does.
Driven by our curiosity and our hope that we're not alone.
It's a search worth pursuing, no matter what.
Because finding another intelligent civilization would be one of the most incredible events in human history.
It would change everything.
Everything. Okay, let's get back to those weird metal fragments. There's some interesting stuff in the videos about the scientific analysis of that material.
You mean the bismuth, magnesium, zinc, and silicon stuff?
Yeah, the analysis Linda Moulton Howell had done.
The scientists were baffled by it.
Really?
They'd never seen anything like it before.
So it wasn't any known alloy or, natural substance?
Not that they could identify.
Wow, it's like we're looking at a piece of a spaceship from the future.
A glimpse into a technology we can't even imagine?
Some researchers even think that by studying these fragments,
Yeah.
we could unlock breakthroughs in, like, material science.
Right.
Energy, maybe even space travel.
It's possible.
So UFOs might not just tell us about alien life.
Hmm.
They might also hold the key to technologies that could change our world.
It's an exciting thought.
It is. But there's also a part of me that wonders about the danger.
The danger.
Yeah, like, if these beings are that advanced,
Right.
couldn't they easily wipe us out?
It's a question we've all probably asked ourselves.
Right.
But if they are as intelligent and observant as they seem,
Uh-huh.
wouldn't it make sense for them to avoid conflict?
Well, yeah, I guess. What would be the point of traveling all this way just to destroy another civilization?
It seems counterproductive.
Right. So maybe they're more interested in, learning from us?
Possibly.
Or even helping us?
It's a more optimistic view.
Definitely. And it suggests that the whole alien thing might be a lot more complex than we think.
It's not a simple good versus evil scenario.
Okay, well, let's talk about crop circles. Those always get people
Oh,
talking.
yeah, crop circles.
What do you make of them?
Well, they're certainly fascinating, these intricate patterns appearing overnight in fields.
And the designs are insane.
Yeah, geometric shapes, mathematical patterns, even alien faces and spaceships.
It's hard to believe humans could make those.
Now, some crop circles have been proven to be hoaxes,
Oh, right. People just messing around.
but there are others that we just can't explain.
And those are the ones that really spark the imagination, right?
Absolutely.
Like, what if there's some unknown force or intelligence creating these things?
It's like a giant message board from the cosmos.
Exactly. So, do you think crop circles could be a form of alien communication?
It's a possibility.
But what are they trying to tell us? What's the message?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
Some think they're warnings about the environment.
Okay.
Others see them as messages of peace.
I've also heard that the patterns themselves might contain hidden information, like codes we need to crack.
It's a fascinating puzzle.
It is. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. What about the impact of extraterrestrial life on religion? If we find out we're not alone, would that shatter our belief systems?
That's a big question.
Right.
And it's something theologians have been thinking about for centuries.
Yeah.
Some believe it would challenge a lot of religions, especially those based on human uniqueness.
Like Christianity, where God created humans in his image and sent Jesus to save us.
Right.
Would aliens complicate that?
It would definitely raise some difficult questions.
Yeah,
But some theologians are already exploring this.
really.
Some say God could have created life on other planets.
Okay.
Others say Jesus' sacrifice might apply to all creation, not just humans.
So it's not necessarily science versus religion.
Right.
More like a chance to rethink our beliefs.
Exactly. And some even think finding alien life could strengthen faith
Strengthen faith, how?
by showing us the vastness of creation and the power of God.
Like expanding our idea of God from the creator of one planet to the creator of a whole universe.
It's an awe-inspiring thought.
It is. But what about the practical side of things? What would happen to society, our technology, our way of life, if we met a civilization way more advanced than us?
That's a question that has fueled a lot of science fiction.
Right.
It's exciting and scary at the same time.
Imagine the tech we could get our hands on.
Right. New energy sources, maybe even interstellar travel.
It would revolutionize everything. But it could also be super disruptive.
That's true.
Our economies, governments, everything could be thrown into chaos.
Some experts warn about the dangers of meeting a more advanced civilization.
Like they could take over or exploit us.
It's a possibility we can't ignore.
Right, so we need to be careful.
Absolutely.
It's like huge potential, but huge risk, too.
It's a balancing act.
So how do we find that balance? Contacting aliens could be the best thing ever for humanity.
Or the worst.
But it's a big decision.
It's a decision that would involve scientists, politicians, everyone.
We need to start thinking about this now.
We need to be prepared.
For the good and the bad.
Exactly.
Okay, one last thing. What if these UFOs aren't spaceships at all? What if there's something else entirely? Like interdimensional beings or something?
Ah, you mean the idea that they're not physical in the way we understand it?
Right, they're from other dimensions.
It's a challenging concept.
For sure. But if they're interdimensional, why do they appear to us in physical form?
Good question.
Why not just stay in their own dimension?
Maybe they're projecting themselves into our reality.
Like holographic projections?
It's a possibility.
That's wild. So maybe our consciousness can interact with other dimensions too.
Maybe our reality is more interconnected than we think.
So we might be searching for other forms of consciousness, not just physical beings.
It's an expansive way of thinking about it.
It is. Okay, but what about the people who say they talk to these interdimensional beings? What do they say about them?
They often describe them as benevolent, wise, even spiritual.
Like they're trying to teach us something.
That's a common theme.
Interesting.
Some say they receive insights, spiritual teachings, even messages about the future.
So like cosmic mentors.
It's a possibility.
That's amazing. It really shows how complicated the relationship between humans and these beings might be.
It's more than just aliens and flying saucers.
Way more. Okay, let's talk about SETI again, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. What exactly are scientists doing to try and find aliens?
Well, they're using all sorts of techniques.
Like what?
One way is to scan the skies for radio waves.
Okay.
Looking for signals that might be artificial.
So they're listening for alien radio.
Yeah, kind of like trying to find a radio station from another planet.
That's cool. And are they finding anything?
So far, no definitive proof.
So the search continues.
It does.
But what if they're not out there? What if we're really alone?
Well, even if we never find them, the search itself is important.
Why?
It pushes us to explore, to learn, to expand our understanding of the universe.
So even if we never find aliens, the journey is worth it.
Absolutely.
That's a great way to think about it.
And you never know, we might just find them tomorrow.
That would be incredible.
It'd be a game changer.
Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up this part of our deep dive. Join us for part 3, where we'll delve even deeper into the mysteries of the cosmos.
Looking forward to it. Stonehenge. Yeah, those are really something.
I mean, how do they do it?
Right. With the tech they had back then.
It's mind-blowing.
That's where the ancient astronaut theory gets interesting.
Okay.
Maybe they had help from extraterrestrials.
Aliens helping them build.
With their advanced knowledge.
Like a tech boost from, out of this world.
A cosmic helping hand.
It's like they left a calling card, proof they were here.
And then you've got those parts, those out-of-place artifacts.
Oh, right, like things that seemed too advanced for the time they were made?
Yeah, like that Antikythera mechanism.
That ancient Greek computer thingy.
Yeah, it's super complex.
And way ahead of its time.
It's hard to explain with our understanding of ancient tech.
So, could it be evidence of alien technology?
It's a possibility.
It's like finding a smartphone in a Roman ruin.
Totally.
But if these ancient astronauts were real, why haven't we found more solid proof?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah, why just myths and legends and weird artifacts?
Well, some say the evidence might have been lost over time.
Lost? How?
Natural disasters, erosion, maybe even people deliberately hiding it.
So it's like a giant cosmic treasure hunt.
We're looking for clues that might not even exist anymore.
Makes it even more exciting.
It does, but it also makes it really difficult to figure out what really happened.
Okay, well, let's think outside the box for a second. What if these UFOs aren't alien spaceships at all? What if there's something totally different?
It's good to keep an open mind.
Right.
And there are other explanations out there.
Like what? Secret government projects? Weather balloons? Give me the rundown.
Well, sometimes people misidentify natural phenomena.
Okay, like what?
Atmospheric anomalies, weird weather, even rare astronomical events.
So we could be mistaking like ball lightning or shooting stars for UFOs.
It happens.
I guess it's easy to get carried away when you see something you don't understand.
Our perception can be tricky.
Right.
We see what we expect to see, not necessarily what's really there.
So we could be filling in the blanks with our own ideas about UFOs.
And then there's the possibility of, advanced military tech.
Like top secret planes or drones.
Exactly, stuff we don't even know about.
So we could be seeing the future of aviation.
It's possible.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
But we also have to consider psychological explanations.
Okay, like what?
Hallucinations, mass hysteria, sleep paralysis.
So our minds could be creating these UFO experiences.
Sometimes our brains play tricks on us.
That's a little freaky.
It is, which is why we need to be skeptical.
Right, don't believe everything you see.
And think critically about the evidence.
But what about cases where there is physical evidence, like radar data, photos, videos? You can't just explain those away as hallucinations, right?
Those cases are definitely worth investigating.
Right.
But we still need to be careful.
Careful how?
Radar can be affected by weather. Photos can be faked. Videos can be edited.
So even when it seems like we have proof, there's still room for doubt.
It's like a puzzle where the pieces keep shifting.
Exactly. But just because we haven't found definitive proof of aliens, it doesn't mean they're not out there, right?
Absolutely not. The universe is huge,
Right.
and we've barely explored any of it.
We might just find aliens someday.
You never know what's out there.
Well, I think that's a great place to end of a deep dive. Thanks for joining me on this exploration of alien encounters and ancient mysteries.
It's been a pleasure.
I hope you learned something new and maybe even had your mind blown a few times.
It's a big universe out there.
It is, and who knows, maybe someday we'll have even more concrete answers to these incredible questions. Until then, keep those minds open and never stop exploring.
Keep looking up.